Hi YouTube, I haven't made a video in a while, blah blah blah, let's talk about permanent beginners. So, you get a lot of questions as a permanent beginner, especially the question, why are you a beginner, over and over. And I think I might go deeper into that in another video. I think I kind of addressed that in an older video that I had, but it's a really big question to answer. So I'm going to focus on a specific question. How do you level as a beginner? So there's a lot of methods, and I'm showing you the method I have right now. You'll notice that I am not doing the party quest intended for my level because, for instance, if I'm doing the Kenta party quest, I'm going to be fighting Pianus at the end, two of them at once, and they're going to be able to hit me with their attacks, and if I have pot lag, I'm basically screwed, like put, very honestly, because permanent beginners, I don't know if you can see at the bottom there, but I have 2.8k HP, which is terrible. And see, oh, look at me fighting. I'm so strong. Yeah, so it's not really efficient to do the higher level stuff until you get more HP, and beginners get HP very slowly. Somebody of some normal level 123 would have an insanely higher amount of HP compared to me. So, I kind of have to do the lower stuff, but I don't want to be a leecher. So that's the distinction I'm going to talk about, the way that different beginners handle leveling. So I feel guilty when I leech because I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the beginner community because there's a lot of misconceptions or sometimes completely valid conceptions of the beginner community that we're all leechers. And I'm going to use the distinction of me and my friend Jamie. Now, if Jamie, for some reason you're seeing this, I'm not insulting you, I'm just saying we play a different way. And also, he's been playing way longer than me. He's currently 198 beginner. He's about to hit 200. And obviously, he leeches all the time. That's how he levels. But in some ways, that's actually pretty impressive. In fact, I think that is more impressive than actually hitting 200 but through fighting, because beginners level super slowly. So to have that kind of dedication to go out and find people that will party you and let you leech, that's impressive. Like, I'm not going to debate that. But I personally feel guilty when I leech because I know that there's a stereotype against beginners that we're all leechers. And so what I'm doing here, and this is what I always do when I party with other people, is I do the grunt work. See, right now I'm picking up liquids and putting them in the jars and things like that, and I'm basically the person that handles that mainly whenever I'm with a group. And you'll see in a second when I go to the pass stage, I offer to do the passes, and then we'll decide whether or not to grind. But I want to be able to help them out so they can fight, they can get their experience while I just do the work that they don't want to do. And that's kind of effective. It's really important to introduce yourself as a beginner once somebody parties you, because a lot of times people will party you based on your level. Maybe they'll, open up your little window, see your level, and invite you without paying attention to your class. And I've had many parties where I go in and they realize, oh, he's a beginner, and then they expel me, especially at the lower levels. At this level, it's kind of a novelty. I think people are really confused by the fact that there would be someone that would get past 120 as a beginner, and so they think, oh, that's funny, that's cute, so I'm going to keep them in the party. And I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful that people find novelty in seeing beginners, or else I would never be able to level. So yeah, right here, I'm having trouble finding a pass. I don't know why. Normally there's like a million passes within the first 2 seconds and I can just grab 2 and do my job, but it's not really efficient. Yeah, this one, luckily, we are not doing grinding, so you're not going to see me AFK for a while. And on the pass stage, I skipped most of it. I'm not the combo stage. I skipped most of it because that's not interesting to watch. Yeah. So he just asked me if I have any HP potions. I basically just have to have ice cream pops until I'm a little higher, because those do 2,000, which is, I have almost 3,000 HP, so that's all I really need, as I just said. Yeah. So I just jumped to a new audio clip real fast as I was thinking of something to talk about. How to get a party as a permanent beginner. This is really crucial if you want to try playing one, because a lot of people will not invite you. In fact, some days you'll be really hard pressed to find a party. You can stay for an hour, nobody will invite you, especially if you're in a low populated server or, server alliance like Gazed or something like that, and you're not in the higher levels. Like I said before, it's easier to find a party as a higher level beginner because you're novel, but when you're 30 through 60-ish, it's not as interesting because people have seen beginners that get that far and then quit. It's very likely that you'll quit before level 20 when you try making one. That's just how it works. Because people are like, oh, I'm going to be cool, I'm going to make a permanent beginner, that's going to be funny, and then they're like, oh, this is really boring. And you find your own novelty in doing it. Anyway, that's another discussion for another time. I actually really enjoy playing a beginner, and I can explain in another video why. But yeah, so how to find a party. It's really important that you state explicitly, I am a beginner, I will not be useful, because it's better for them to know right up front what you can do. But what I say is, I can't fight, but I can do grunt work. And sometimes people will ask me what that means, and I'll say that means I'll handle passes, liquids, combos, things like that, all the stuff you guys don't want to do, and you can focus on the fun stuff, mainly fighting. And it's good for them to know that you're going to be working, because a lot of beginners just tag along and don't try to do anything, which is like really lazy. I mean, if you're going to be a beginner, you have to work for it. And that's why beginners have such a bad rap, is because they don't really try to work. And yeah, I would recommend don't even try fighting. You can do that if you want to try being useful, but honestly, no matter how strong you are as a beginner, you're going to be maybe at the very best 1/10 as strong as someone who has a class of that level, you know, decent power. That's just how it is. Like, this video, later in the day, I got an Enraged Sturge Whip, and my range went up to 6,000 in attack. And I am a pure strength beginner. I did not add any in HP. One time I added a little in HP just to see how much it would give me, but that was it. So I'm pure strength, and yet I can only hit up to 6,000, and that's on an enemy that has super low defense. And that's at level 123, so there's no way you're going to be strong. That's why I always tell people, you don't have to be funded to be a beginner, because it's a waste of mesos anyway. You're way better off funding a character that you intend to fight with. Like, whenever I get good equips, I always give them to my, well, not my beginner, my paladin. Well, obviously, he won't be using the common equips because those aren't as strong. But, like, if I have a lot of mesos, I'm going to be giving those mesos to my paladin because he's the one who can actually get strong. And he is pretty strong right now, decently strong. He's not incredible or anything. Oh, yeah, I just skipped ahead. Now I'm on the 4th platform, or the 4th level, because you guys don't want to see that other stuff. Yeah, but you're way better off funding a class that you actually intend to fight with. One thing I would recommend, and I kind of regret not doing this, but I kind of don't at the same time, and I'm not sure why, HP beginners. If you're not going to be useful for fighting, you might as well pump your AP into HP so that you can at least survive, which is something that I have a lot of trouble with, and which is why a lot of beginners try to find HP equipment. Because the other way that people, you know, train with permanent beginners is they grind. And I did this for a while. I grinded through 80-ish before I started party questing because somebody said I was just... It's funny, like, this comment actually got to me. He said that I was just going to be one of these beginners that mooches off other people's efforts. And I was like, oh, really? So I grinded until 80 on this guy, and then I started party questing, because I feel like you've earned it at that point. A lot of people have a cutoff of 100, like once you're 100, you can start party questing. I think it depends on the person. I think you should grind for a while, or at least party quest, before you start leeching off of parties, just, you know, as they fight. Especially, I mean, if once you're like 150, yeah, go for it. Just do whatever you want. I don't care. You've earned it. You're 150 as a beginner. Like, I can't judge you for leeching at that point. But yeah. So as you can see, we're at the end here, and there's not a lot left because the leader, he either died or disconnected. I forget what happened. Yeah, so he can't pass the lead. But the point is we got the experience, and I just leveled to 124, and that's the first level I've gotten in a while because I hadn't been on my beginner in a long time. Yeah, so that's information on party questing as a beginner. Just remember to state you are a beginner. Once you get into the party, verify, are you aware that I'm a beginner? Because that's important, because they need to know that. And try not to sound all uppity about it, because you are basically worthless as a character. It's just kind of fun to be one. Alright, so yeah. I'm gonna go now, and I'm glad you watched this if you, for some reason, wanted to watch this boring vlog all the way through. Alright, goodbye.